In our recent industry digital communication analysis, we heard back from 27 financial brand leaders from around the industry about how they are or are not confidently communicating confidence to calm the hearts and minds of people in the communities that they currently serve based upon the perceived banking crisis. That's why in this video, I'm going to break down the biggest insights we gained, along with sharing recommendations to guide you forward so that you can guide others beyond the confusion and chaos they might be feeling right now. Hi, my name is James Robert Lay, and I'm the CEO of the Digital Growth Institute, where we teach financial brands how to level up loans and deposits in the age of AI. You know, even though things might feel like they are quieting down right now, maybe just a bit, if you're a financial brand leader who has been wondering how your peers have and are communicating during this perceived banking crisis, I want to help you gain some perspective into the biggest trends, into the patterns that we saw from the insights we gained through a brief industry survey we conducted recently following the 3 bank failures in the United States. But first, if you find this video helpful, be sure to like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share this video with others you work with. And if you do have a question or a comment, don't hesitate to leave that question, ask that question, leave that comment below, or send me a direct message on LinkedIn where I'm very active. Now, in our brief survey, we heard back from 27 leaders from around the industry. That included CEOs, CMOs, branch managers, advisors, loan officers. They all shared their perspectives to the following 3 questions. Number 1, how is the financial brand you work at communicating clarity and confidence, both internally as well as externally? And would they be able to share some examples of that? Number 2, we asked, where do you feel like there might be communication gaps within the industry from your perspective? And then number 3, where do you feel like there might be communication gaps at a larger level from their perspective, based upon the communication that they're receiving from other financial brands? Now, I'd like to start off by sharing some good news. The vast majority of these leaders reported that they proactively communicated with their internal teams, along with their account holders, in the first few days of the bank failures in the United States. That alone is a fantastic first step, and I felt very encouraged by that. Now, the problem is upon deeper analysis. The communication cadence, the pacing, if you will, of these organizations was typically a one-and-done activity. For example, some shared that they updated the staff with talking points. They checked that off the list. They sent out the email to the account holders. They checked that off the list, and maybe, just maybe, they posted something on social media. Check, move on. We've covered all of our bases. We're good to go. But not so fast, because we found that with a random sampling of 20 community financial brands, 95% failed to communicate any type of message of clarity. They failed to communicate help. They failed to communicate hope during this time of crisis through their corporate Facebook pages. The challenge that we're seeing here is that with one-and-done checklist communication strategies, especially during a time of crisis, that doesn't match the never-ending cacophony of conflict and chaos that is continuously communicated throughout social media, really, which amplifies the 24-hour news cycle that we're all typically inundated with. Even as of recording, I saw a headline on USA Today that read, quote, "Close to 190 banks could face Silicon Valley's bank's fate, according to a new study," end quote. Why is it important to note headlines like these? Well, because according to copyblogger.com, a whopping 8 out of 10 people only read the headline of an article, while only 2 out of 10 then go on to read the rest of the article. Put another way, only 2 people actually read the full article. And as such, they gain the deeper perspective. And this is where financial brands must consider the opportunities to optimize communication strategies as we look at the role of marketing being twofold. And I want to come to the board here to provide some more clarity. When it comes to marketing, marketing has 2 specific roles, 2 specific functions. In its most basic form, marketing's primary role is to, number 1, control the message, and number 2, generate leads. And financial brands will struggle to generate leads if they are not controlling the message and the narrative around financial confidence in the minds of account holders along with people in the communities that they serve. In fact, the president at a $6 billion community bank shared with me the question. I'm going to quote him. He shared, quote, "The question now is how do we become very opportunistic in a manner that I'm proud of and not knocking the competition, but reinforcing our strength," end quote. I agree with his bank president. The opportunity now is to provide 2 things to people. It is to provide them with help. It is to provide them with hope. And the way that we can do that as financial brands, as banks, as credit unions, and even fintechs, is by freely sharing our knowledge, freely sharing our expertise, but not just once through an email. We must share our knowledge. We must share our expertise over and over and over again through multiple communication channels at both macro and micro levels. And we must do this to break through the messages of fear, to break through the messages of chaos that so many are reading and hearing and seeing right now on social media. This is where meeting people where they are, starting with digital leadership, within the leadership of the organization, to communicate a positive message of help and hope on social media channels like TikTok, like Instagram, like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. This is an exponential growth opportunity. As one executive noted in reply to our recent industry survey, quote, "Clients rely on their bankers and have been reaching out to them directly, looking for an explanation of what happened to the 2 banks," end quote. Now, on the other hand, we received a few reports from leaders within the financial brands that they serve, within the financial brands that they lead. These leaders chose to remain silent as they shared with us. And I'm going to read a couple of these quotes here. Quote, "We are not at the moment communicating with people. We are not at the moment because no other FIs locally have sent out anything, so we don't want to alarm our members," end quote. Another one stated, quote, "Unfortunately, our management team has chosen to remain silent," end quote. And then, quote from someone else, "Communication in our organization was the CEO emailing managers who then did not share with the frontline staff, and then the staff were blindsided," and this person continues, "because the staff," I'm going to quote them, "they don't keep up with this stuff." Now, this is where things get really interesting, as the vast majority of leaders responded to our survey that they receive no communication whatsoever from other financial brands that they are banking with during this time of crisis and chaos. Why? This is surfacing, this quote-unquote bank crisis is surfacing an even deeper communication crisis that has led us to a confidence crisis within financial services. It doesn't matter if you work at a bank. It doesn't matter if you work at a credit union. It doesn't matter if you work at a fintech. We are all being impacted by a confidence crisis rooted in a communication crisis. One leader noted, I want to quote them in our survey, quote, as for communication gaps, I see a significant gap from the nationals, the national financial brands, that is. They continue, I have accounts at numerous national institutions and have seen nothing from any of them. The lack of communication is allowing the headlines to direct the narrative, which is never ideal. I know they're being deemed, quote unquote, too large to fail, so consumers will migrate back to the national banks, but it's further confirmation that the largest institutions truly don't care about those they service, end quote. Another leader shared in this regard, quote, regarding other accounts I have at other financial brands, none have communicated with me as a customer or member at all. Another leader questioned, quote, I feel times like these are opportunities for us to help lead our members and calm any concerns that they might have. And they ask a very good question. They ask, quote, did the drugstore chains remain silent and on the sidelines when COVID hit? The same leader also noted, quote, I think much of our industry suffers from a don't rock the boat mindset, end quote. Why is this? I'm wondering, why is this? Because staying silent, or simply sending one email to account holders telling them that everything is okay does not match the pace. It does not match the speed, scale, and reach that is needed to continuously confidently communicate confidence. The confidence that is required to calm the hearts and minds of people in a digital world. In fact, one leader shared their concern in our survey that, quote, pretending it didn't happen, i.e. the bank failures, pretending it didn't happen and continuing business as usual, especially smaller institutions and neobanks, could result in churn to larger banks that are getting specifically called out in articles that they are not impacted. This could be a boon for the major banks. Contributing to the narrative as an institution or industry is absolutely necessary, end quote. With all of this in mind, how can you, as a financial brand leader, how can you quickly and easily confidently communicate confidence in times of chaos and crisis, specifically in a digital world? My friend Cassidy Blanc, she recently shared on LinkedIn, quote, self-awareness and the ability to listen are a powerful duo and the foundation for effective communication, emotional intelligence, and relationship building. I want to give you a 3-step process that you can apply as a financial brand leader. Doesn't matter if you are the CEO, the CMO, the CLO, the CFO, the COO. I want to give you a 3-step process that you can apply within the next 24 to 48 hours to instantly increase your EQ, your emotional intelligence, so that you could build even deeper relationships with people in a digital world. This process, it is an exercise in empathy, and it works well for both internal and external communication. It's the very same process that I shared in chapter 4 of my book, Banking on Digital Growth, and you can confidently use this process to confidently communicate confidence when you commit to go all in on people. Now, what do I mean by this? Go all in on people. I want to come back to the board. Ask, listen, and learn. This is what I mean by going all in on people. Getting really good at asking really good questions, listening to what they have to say with an open heart and mind, and then learning through observation. And when you apply this 3-step methodology as a financial brand leader in the next, say, 24 to 48 hours, here's how you can do this. I want you to ask your marketing team to send an empathetic email to both account holders as well as your internal team, communicating how you know how overwhelming and confusing that this perceived banking crisis can feel based upon what is being communicated in the news. And this is going to provide a place, a forum, for people to share their questions and their concerns based upon what they are reading, what they are seeing, and what they are hearing on social media. Then you can also provide a link to this open-ended survey, which takes their name, their email address, even their primary social media profile, and a form field to capture all of this information in a centralized location. The next step is when someone submits this form, let them know on the thank you page of the form that you're compiling a list of questions and will be responding to them in the next 24 to 48 hours to provide them with further clarity, with guidance, maybe even some help and hope about what is going on, because that will give them confidence in the future. From there, take all of the questions that you're gathering and sort them. Look for patterns. Combine the ones that are duplicate or similar questions, which brings us to step number 4. Because, of course, you could answer these questions with a written one-to-one reply to whoever who asked that question. But here's the opportunity to level up your communication cadence to provide clarity and hope and help at scale like never before by sharing your knowledge and expertise in a digital world. So step 5, record a short video response for every question you get. Now, of course, you probably want to anonymize the questions that you're getting because you can only just reply to the person who had the question with the video response, but you can also share this video response on different social media channels and publish it on your website as part of an interactive FAQ where you embed, say, a YouTube playlist along with a form below that playlist, a form below that video, to provide a place for people that are visiting this resource page you have to ask further questions. And then finally, in step 6, you can share these videos internally for team members to also post answers and clarity and guidance and help and hope on their own social media profiles to further amplify the knowledge and expertise that you have as a financial brand leader within the local communities that you're serving to get that message out at scale. I also want to give you a step number 7. Let your local media know what you're doing and how you're proactively answering the biggest questions and concerns that people have in the community that you're serving. Because when you go all in on people to both ask and answer their biggest questions, their concerns during times of crisis and chaos, you'll be a beacon of light, offering help, offering hope by sharing your knowledge, your expertise to guide them forward towards an even bigger, better, and brighter future. And as a result, you'll probably pick up some extra deposits along the way from financial brands that either A, stayed silent, or B, they only sent out one email with a bunch of corporate speak. For more insights like this in the future, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, and then share it. Share this video with someone else, just one person that you might find value, that you might think would find value, and they'll thank you for helping them. You can also tune into the Banking on Digital Growth podcast or grab a copy of the book Banking on Digital Growth from Amazon, where I share a strategic marketing manifesto to transform financial brands. Until next time, be well, do good, and make your bed.